Hi everyone, Kevin here from Golf Guy Reviews, and in today's video I'm going to give you my full review of the Nike React Infinity Pro golf shoes. Now these currently retail in the UK for £100 and $120 in the US, and they are very much the takedown baby brother model of the Air Zoom Infinity Tour golf shoes, which retail for £150 here in the UK. So in a bit I'm going to tell you exactly how these fit my feet and what they feel like out on the golf course. But for now we're going to start with actually the upper and just kind of go over very briefly the design details of the shoe and the materials that they've used. So first of all, the main component of the shoe here on the upper is the Nikeskin material, which is kind of a synthetic leather upper material, and they've done something quite interesting with this shoe, and that's that they've actually put a texture on the shoe to make it look like a fly knit upper. So with the Infinity Tour shoes, you've actually got fly knit material. It's a full-blown knitted material, whereas on this, it's made to look like a knitted material, but it certainly doesn't feel like a knitted material. In fact, what I would say with this upper to begin with is that I was a little bit disappointed with it, if I'm being totally honest, because it's not the softest feeling upper. It feels a little bit cheap, if I'm entirely honest, and at £100, that's still a significant amount of money here in the UK to spend on a pair of golf shoes, and I would have hoped that it would have felt maybe a little bit nicer. I've actually got a pair of the React Vapor 2s here, which also use the Nikeskin, and it just feels a little bit softer, if I'm honest. In regards to the colorways, there are 5 different options with this shoe, and I've gone for this classic kind of black and white version because I thought it looked quite cool actually, but there are some quite standout colorways that you can really look to be bold on the course with, so check them out for sure if that's something that interests you. And you can see here on the upper, as I mentioned, you've got this fly knit pattern here on the toe box, and then you've got some texture in here on the side. You've got like a triangle part there on the side of it, and the upper goes right the way round to the heel. It's quite, I would say, quite an exaggerated kind of heel area there, you can see. On the back of the shoe, you've got this really cool kind of tape structure with Nike running up the back of it, so I think that looks quite cool. And you can see on the Nike swoosh there, you've also got the polka dot pattern as well. Another element that I really like in regards to the design of the shoe is this camo pattern that you've got on the back. So hopefully you can see it there on the camera. You've just got a very, very subtle hint of this camo pattern. That just looks really cool. And in regards to the design as well, you've got just a little bit of rippling on the bottom of the midsole foam there that you can just kind of make out, and that goes all the way around the shoe. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of this shoe? Do you like the look of it? Or do you actually prefer the look of the bigger brother of the Infinity Tour? The look of the shoe is very modern, it's very slim and sleek, and that's because it's based on the Infinity running shoe. So it's quite a good match of the silhouette, and once again, Nike have turned one of their running shoes into a pair of golf shoes, which is just the consistent theme at the moment for Nike. They don't seem to be doing anything else but turn their running shoes into golf shoes at the moment. On the midsole here, you can see, because it quite clearly says, that you've got Nike React foam, which if you've never used before, is a very nice, soft, comfortable foam. But feeling this on feet, I've got to say again, I was a little bit disappointed with the shoes because it just didn't seem that soft. I don't know whether it's because they've not used lots of the Nike React foam here. It seems like there's a decent amount of it, but compared to other Nike React shoes that I've used in the past, I just didn't feel that I was really getting the benefit of the softness that Nike React can provide. It was there, these were comfortable enough underfoot, and they're certainly not uncomfortable underfoot in regards to the softness and the responsiveness. It just wasn't super soft and squishy. There are softer feeling Nike shoes in their golf range than these. So I was a little bit surprised at that, and if I'm honest, a little bit disappointed too. I really hope you're enjoying this video so far, so hit that like button if you are. And if you are finding it helpful and you want to keep up to date on all my latest reviews of golf shoes, clothing and tech, then make sure you subscribe to my channel. Because, you know, golf shoes aren't the cheapest things in the world, and you want to make sure you're buying the right shoes for you that are going to fit your feet right. So make sure you check out my videos, because I've got tons of reviews here on this channel. And yeah, it will really help my channel out if you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you press that bell notification so you can keep up to date when I post my latest videos. So let's move on to the fit, and in this shoe I went true to size, so I got a UK 9, and it fit me lengthwise for sure, but it is quite a tight fit. So I did have enough room at the toe, but it definitely felt the sides of the shoe pushing against the sides of my feet. It does mean that you do feel quite nice and tight and locked into the shoe, but if you've got wide feet, then this might not be the shoe for you because there's currently not a wide fit option available. Or if you just like to have the feeling of a little bit more wriggle room in the toes of your feet, again, this might not be the shoe for you. In regards to the heel and the ankle area, there's an average amount of room, I would say, in there. In regards to padding, there's nothing particularly special going on with the padding area of the ankle. And again, of the tongue, there's a little bit of padding in the tongue, but it's not particularly thick. You can see there that it kind of sits quite wide across the shoe, but you know, it wasn't uncomfortable. I didn't get any blisters in the ankle or the top of my foot. However, I did get blisters very much so in the heel of the shoe. So again, as I feel it there, there's a little bit of padding going on, but there's not too much. And of course, you've got this exaggerated kind of heel arch going on at the back there. And for me, the way these fit my feet, I was getting some serious blisters after 9 holes on the heel of the shoe. You've also got an internal heel counter with this shoe, and my foot did feel quite nice and locked in the heel area, which is why I was kind of surprised that I got those blisters, because I certainly didn't really feel any slipping going on. But just the way that that kind of heel area works with my foot, just I suppose doesn't agree with it. Now, I mentioned that it's not the softest feeling Nike shoe underfoot, especially in regards to the React foam. I was quite surprised with that. But also I've got to point out as well is that I did feel a bit of pressure point as well on this kind of spike area here. Now, I will talk about the sole of the shoe in a little bit and go on in regards to the spikes and how they grip the turf and how they performed out on the course. But I could definitely feel a little bit of pressure on the outside of the midfoot area there. And after a few holes, that kind of disappears because you get used to it, I suppose. But when I compare them against other golf shoes, straight out the box, for example, with the React Vapor 2s, I didn't have that feeling whatsoever with these shoes. These feel nice and flat on my foot and felt that they gave them a good amount of support. I can really feel the difference with these shoes. So again, that's something you might want to try it before you buy these shoes. Make sure that you're comfortable with the way that they fit your feet. So let's take a quick look at the sole of the shoe, and you can see here that these have got the very unique piston spikes that Nike have used for these shoes, as well as the Infinity Tour models. So you can see here that you've got these 2 large spikes at the front here, and you've got a very large one at the rear as well. And these are kind of designed to be flexible, so you can kind of see here, if I move that to the camera, you've got a lot of give and movement in these spikes. And the idea is that they improve the comfort and kind of can flex with the ground, giving you as much grip as possible. Now, I've got to say that I was actually quite impressed with the level of grip from these shoes. I didn't slip once with them, and they seem to do quite a good job. I didn't have the chance to wear these in really heavy, wet, damp conditions, unfortunately, so I can't speak for how they performed there. But out on a dry course and an early morning jury course, they performed quite well indeed, and I was pleasantly surprised with that, as well as the comfort underfoot. I've got to say that I suppose I didn't really notice the feeling of them. So yeah, I was quite impressed with those. You have got to consider the fact though that these aren't replaceable. So if you do break one of these spikes off, then you've got to buy a new pair of shoes because your grip is going to be compromised. So that's really interesting to see how that works out. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Would you prefer to go for a more traditional set of spiked cleats that you'll be able to replace? Or are you happy and comfortable going with these permanently spiked golf shoes? Another thing to point out with the shoes as well, you can kind of see here, is that the bottom of the shoe has got this coating on it. So if you just hear here, it's kind of like a plasticky TPU coating, I suppose, very thin and going over the React foam. And I was wondering whether or not this was going to affect the grip of the shoe because it is kind of slippery, to be honest, and it's got this wavy pattern. But to be totally honest, I didn't really notice an issue with it at all. It performed absolutely fine. You have got an area here at the front of the shoe where you've just got no grip whatsoever. But again, for the way that I hit the ball, personally, I didn't notice it, but I did just want to kind of highlight it to you watching this video. While we're talking about the performance of the shoe in regards to the upper, with the Nikeskin here, Nike say that this is a breathable material, and personally, I've never really particularly found that. My feet on quite a warm day were getting quite hot and stuffy in these shoes. You know, it wasn't terrible. It didn't mean that I had to take them off, and it wasn't too uncomfortable, but I wouldn't call this the most breathable material available out on the market. Also, in regards to the upper, I didn't manage to test these in the rain, so I had to do a little bit of a test here at home. So as you can see, I took a container with 300 milliliters of water on the shoes, and I poured it on the upper, and I did focus on the tongue area as well. In regards to the upper, then that was waterproof, that didn't let any water through. However, with this tongue, you can see when I actually take my shoes off that actually the water does creep down the sides of the tongue and actually got my foot quite wet on both sides as well as underneath. So if you are caught in a heavy downpour in these shoes, then your feet aren't necessarily going to stay dry. There is a little bit of water creeping in around that tongue area, but for the most part, the upper is nice and waterproof for the vast majority of times you're going to be using these shoes. In regards to performance, I also wanted to talk about the stability of the shoes. So with the upper, it is quite stiff and firm, as I mentioned earlier. So that does give you a fairly decent amount of stability with the shoe. And you've also got some structural elements as well. So you can see here on the lateral side, tied into these two laces here, you've got this kind of triangle kind of area here, which is giving you a little bit more reinforced stability. And you've also got that the same on the medial side as well. So in regards to the upper, I think it had a decent amount of stability. But what I would have to say is that these are quite a narrow shoe. You've not got the widest platform there to begin with. And on a very dry day, on a very dry course, I did find that I was a little bit wanting for stability. You do feel that actually if I had a wider platform, then I would definitely have a bit more stability with these shoes. So again, that is something to be considerate of. I'm not saying that these are necessarily unstable, but I'm saying that there are definitely more stable shoes out there on the market, certainly in this price range, even in Nike's own range of golf shoes. So again, that's just something you might want to think about before purchasing these shoes, and definitely want to try them on for yourself. So when it comes to spike golf shoes for around £100, what are your alternatives? Well, I've mentioned it a few times already, and I've got to say that personally, I would go with the Vapor React 2 instead. For me, they have a slightly wider fit. They've certainly got a wider base on them, so they feel like a more stable shoe. And underfoot, they're far more comfortable. Even though they both use the React foam, the React foam in the Vapor 2 just feels that much softer. You've also got flywire technology in the shoes here, so you can really pull that upper in, and you've got a lot more padding in the ankle and heel area. And I've got to say, I've never experienced blistering with these shoes, whereas I definitely experienced blistering in the heel with these shoes. At the moment, these retail anywhere between £80 to £100 here in the UK, and I would personally say that this is a better choice compared to the React Infinity Tours. Another alternative I've got to suggest is the Nike Roshe G Tours. Again, they're around the £100 mark. You might be able to pick them up a little bit cheaper in the sale. They're a little bit more plain and subdued compared to the Infinity Pros, but for me personally, I think they're a more comfortable fit and they give better performance. Ultimately, you see professional players on the tour with the Roshe G Tour as well as the React Infinity Pro. No, wait, what are these called? The React Vapor 2s, that's what they're called. But I don't think you're going to see any pros wearing the Infinity Pro. Now, if you want to check out my full reviews, I've got a full review of both the React Vapor 2s as well as the Roshe G Tour, and I've even got a comparison video as well of the Roshe G Tours against these shoes, so you can check them out in the description below. For £100, you've also really got to consider the Adidas Tour 360 XT golf shoes. You can often find them in sales for around the £100 mark, and they, to be honest, are a far superior golf shoe compared to these ones. They're going to give you a lot more stability, they're going to be a lot more comfortable, and personally, I prefer the look of those golf shoes compared to these. But again, that's just personal choice and preference, so it's totally up to you. Again, I've got a full review of those golf shoes, so you can check them out in the description link below. So there you go, that's my full review of the Nike React Infinity Pro. Do I think these are worth £100? Just about, possibly, if you really like the look of these and you can't justify the extra money to go up to the Air Zoom Infinity Tour golf shoes, then if you're buying these on looks alone, fill your boots, enjoy yourself. You've got plenty of colour options there. They're not a bad looking shoe. They perform okay, fine, but to be honest, I think there are better golf shoes out there on the market for £100. There are better Nike golf shoes currently available for £100. So I think you should definitely at least consider checking those out as an alternative. I really hope you enjoyed this review today and you found it helpful. So hit that like button if you did. And please, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date with all my latest reviews of golf shoes, clothing and tech right here on Golf Guy Reviews.